everyone. I'm Joanna Dolan. This is RMS Titanic Reflections, and this is episode 5 of Deep Conversations. We have special guest Kathy Lamet. I'm also joined with Kipper Fox of Fox Starline. Today we'll be discussing Kathy's recent trip to Titanic with OceansGate. Thanks so much for joining us. Give us just a few minutes while we share the event and while everyone joins us live. Kathy, thank you so much for joining us. I had the pleasure of meeting Kathy at the Titanic Con 21 in Pigeon Forge this past August. Bill Willard puts together this event every year when it's possible, and it's just such a great event. Kathy, it was such a pleasure to meet you in person. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, likewise, John. It was great to meet you at the conference.
We learned so much. That was just such a fun event. I have a couple of pictures, if you don't mind me sharing those. Would that be all right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let me see if I can find them while everybody's joining us. Just something fun to just show off real quick here.
Okay.
Let's see. Here we are. This is all of us here on the grand staircase. I don't know if everybody can see these. This is me and my friend Jamie and Kathy. We're just being silly there in the conference center. And there's me and Kathy. And there we are at the night of the gala dinner. And that's it there for our conference photos. But that is in the gift shop at the museum there in Pigeon Forge, which is an excellent museum. That was so much fun. I went through it twice. How about you, Kathy? Did you go through twice this year?
At least twice every year. It's an amazing place. In the conference, I have learned so much there. Every year that I go, it's a wonderful conference.
Yeah. If you'll have to join us there one year. Yeah. Kipper, Earth to Kipper.
Yeah. I think I was still on my honeymoon when y'all left, so I was somewhere else.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe next year. That was so much fun, though. We had a blast. So Kathy, tell us a little bit about what you do with the Remembering Titanic post. Let's talk about that real quick. That's how I came to know who you were.
Oh, well thank you.
Same here.
That's how most of you all probably know who Kathy is.
Thank you very much. Well, I don't know. I'm thinking it's been maybe about 3 years. I got this idea in my head as a way to honor the passengers and crew of the Titanic. I just started writing a little blog, and it's really meant to honor the person for a day. I call it Titanic Remembrance, and I just kind of randomly pick out a passenger or crew member daily and just write a little biography about them, and post it to the different groups. And like I said, the objective is just for everyone just to take a moment and just remember that person for the day, the person that was on the Titanic, and how their life kind of before and a little bit during their trip, and then if they survived afterwards. So just a way to honor each person.
Did you tell me that you are planning on maybe turning that into a bigger project in the future?
I am. I'm actually working on writing a book. Okay, and it's exciting and it's a lot of work, but it's very. How can I say this? I'm learning. I'm going into a little bit more depth with certain of the passengers and crew in this book, and also too, I'm really excited, and I've announced this in the groups, but when the book is released, all the proceeds from the book, I'm actually going to donate them to different Titanic societies throughout the world so they can use them for the upkeep of graves, or if they find someone that maybe has an unmarked grave, maybe it could go towards getting a stone, or if it's someone that was lost at sea and someone wants to do a memorial, it can help fund those. And also possibly doing a scholarship for someone too. So
That's awesome. All right. Well, Kathy was kind enough to bring along some photos from a recent little adventure that she took. I've already seen them, but they're absolutely fantastic. She joined OceanGate recently on their expedition to Titanic. I would love to have been there, but it was wonderful seeing this fantastic trip through Kathy's eyes. It's just absolutely amazing. So Kathy, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and get that presentation started, and you can just tell us all about it. And let's see here. And folks, I apologize for getting a little bit of a late start here, but we were trying to make sure that this was all working properly before we began today. So just bear with me here. Okay. All right, Kathy. I'll let you just go ahead and take over just whenever you're ready.
well, thank you, Joanna, very much. And first of all, I would like to thank RMS Titanic Reflections for hosting this webinar. And also, I am forever grateful to OceanGate for having had the opportunity to participate in the OceanGate Titanic Survey Expedition 2021, which was a trip of dreams. In addition, 2 other members of the Titanic community were on various missions during the expedition, and it was great to have met David Concannon and his wife Kim, who were on mission 1, and also Rory Golden, who was on missions 1, 2, and 3 during the expedition. I also want to take a quick opportunity here at this time and credit the following sources for the photos that you'll see in this presentation. Photos came from Kathy Lamette Collection, OceanGate website, and their Facebook page. And also some of them are from Kyle Bingham, who is the expedition manager at OceanGate, took some of them also. Throughout the years, there have been numerous times I have watched a documentary on television about an expedition to the Titanic. And as I am sure with fellow Titanic community members throughout the world, I would think what it would be like to participate in an expedition to the Titanic. Then when the show was over, just in the blink of an eye, I'd go back to my daily life. Throughout the years, there have been numerous times I have watched a documentary on television about I did that incorrectly. I've studied the subject of the Titanic for nearly 20 years and am unable to explain this passion. It just is in my heart. I love all aspects of the story of the Titanic, from the conception of her to the building, launching, fitting out, sea trials, delivery trip, maiden voyage, the sinking, discovery, and the expeditions to her. The passengers and crew hold a very special place in my heart within the story of the Titanic, though. There are, after all, 2,208 separate stories of these people within the encompassing story of the Titanic. A few years ago, I began writing a blog in numerous Facebook groups called Titanic Remembrance, where one passenger or crew member is honored daily. To date, over 550 passengers and crew members have been honored. I've been fortunate to have visited Belfast, Southampton, Cherbourg, Cove, formerly Queenstown, Halifax, the Luxor in Las Vegas, where the Big Piece is, Denver, where the Margaret Brown House is, New York City, which has Piers 54 and 59, and many, many additional New York City Titanic-related sites. Various Titanic artifact expeditions in cities throughout the U.S., also various Titanic societies, conferences, and conventions, and then also numerous memorials and graves dedicated to the passengers and crew throughout the world. It has been a pleasure to have met many relatives of passengers and crew aboard the Titanic, and also to have met many Titanic friends in person, plus Facebook friends who share the passion of this magnificent ship, her passengers, and crew. It's also been a pleasure to have met and talked with many Titanic experts, some of whom have been on a Titanic expedition themselves. Some of these people went one very incredible step further and climbed into a submersible to see the wreck of the Titanic and the debris field with their own eyes. In 2018, I was at home walking through my living room, scrolling on the internet on my phone, when I came across a website for OceanGate. My eyes got bigger when I saw the word Titanic. On this website, I read that OceanGate was located in Everett, and I remember thinking, okay, this must be Everett in the UK or Everett in Australia, and I nearly fell over when I read that OceanGate was located in Everett, Washington, USA, and this is just an hour drive from where I live. I sat down on my couch and immediately signed up for their emailing list. In 2019, I read that OceanGate was offering a dive in their submersible Cyclops 1 to search for the elusive six-gill shark, and I immediately signed up as I was not going to let an opportunity like this slip away. I was invited to the OceanGate headquarters for a meet and greet for half a day, and it was great to meet the team and tour the facility. First and foremost on my mind, though, was, where is Titan? It was a beautiful sunny day in the Pacific Northwest when I first set eyes on Titan in her slip at the marina. Titan is the first 5-person carbon fiber titanium submersible capable of reaching 4,000 meters that would be used in the Titanic survey expeditions. In preparation for my upcoming dive in Cyclops 1, and that's Cyclops 1 on the right side picture there, I was invited to spend an entire day with the team at their headquarters. I thoroughly enjoyed getting to know the team members better, and they were very informative in answering my questions. I learned that the launch and recovery platform for the submersibles are patented, and for a dive, the submersible, while on the platform, is towed to the dive site. The crew can either take a leisurely trip out to the dive site standing on the platform, if weather permitting, or take the fast boat out later and catch up to the platform and submersible. If the crew choose to take the fast boat, they are then transported from the fast boat to the platform using a Zodiac. The crew then enter the submersible while they're on the platform. The platform is then filled with water, so the platform and the submersible go below the waterline, and then once below the waterline, the submersible can be driven off the platform. A gaming controller is used to drive the submersible. The reverse process happens when the submersible returns from a dive with pressurized air being pumped into the platform to bring the submersible, which has been docked and secured on the platform underwater, back up to the surface. In the afternoon, we went out on the water in Kraken, which is their support boat, to rebait the pots in Possession Sound with new baits to lure, hopefully, the elusive six-gill shark for the dive. Fast forward the day of my dive, it was now here, and Mission Specialist Kathy was super excited. At 9 a.m., the team all met on the platform of Cyclops 1 for a pre-dive briefing. Safety is number one at all times. Kraken towed the platform with Cyclops 1 to the dive site. Our dive crew were transported to the dive site in the fast boat Vito and then transferred to the platform via the Zodiac Sheila. The dive itself was incredible. The six-gill shark stayed elusive that day. However, we observed marine life thriving in natural habitat. The highlight of the day was seeing a very beautiful, colorful lion's mane jellyfish through the huge dome window. I was able to drive the submersible with the gaming controller and make the complete ascent to the platform. The pilot then docked Cyclops 1 back onto the platform and we ascended to the surface. I felt very safe the entire day with the OceanGate team and did not feel claustrophobic at all. This was a fantastic dive, and then the day became even better as when I was leaving for the day, I was asked to become a volunteer for OceanGate. Well, of course, my answer was yes. And then to top off this incredible experience, a few weeks later, the OceanGate Media Department developed 2 amazing videos of my dive, which were posted on their website and on YouTube. The OceanGate team gave Captain Kathy a phenomenal memory that is forever etched in my mind. In April 2020, for the anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic, OceanGate asked me to write a memorial to commemorate this solemn occasion. After I submitted my contribution, OceanGate composed a beautiful video, including my memorial, which was shared on their OceanGate website and on their OceanGate Expeditions Facebook page. I was elated one day when I received an email from OceanGate inviting me to become the OceanGate Titanic Community Social Liaison. This volunteer position enabled me to share information between OceanGate and the Titanic community and vice versa. The OceanGate team care very deeply about being respectful of the memory of the Titanic, her passengers and crew, and also the wreck site where the Titanic tragedy occurred. In April 2021, OceanGate asked me to give a presentation about the passengers and crew of the Titanic during one of their Zoom webinars for the anniversary of the sinking. This experience was very special to me to be able to share some stories of the passengers and crew, and also Rory Golden gave a presentation on his experiences diving to the wreck of the Titanic. As the OceanGate Titanic Community Social Liaison, it was an honor to present webinars to the Titanic Society of Atlantic Canada explaining about OceanGate and giving updates on the preparations for the OceanGate Titanic Survey Expedition 2021. Kyle Bingham also gave a webinar presentation for the Titanic Connections Community Facebook group, which was very informative. During the pandemic, the engineers at OceanGate worked at the shop and followed COVID protocol, while the rest of the team worked from home, as many of us did during that challenging time. I admire OceanGate very much as they forged ahead preparing for the Titanic Survey Expedition 2021, making necessary adjustments due to the pandemic, yet still staying on course for a successful expedition. After the vaccination rollout and the team were back some days at the office, I was invited for a visit to observe Titan going through some routine stability tests. I was fully vaccinated and we wore masks while inside. At the time, masks were not required outside in Washington State, and it was great spending time with the team, observing the tests with Titan and enjoying a beautiful sunny day in the Pacific Northwest. And standing next to me is Kyle Bingham, who is the OceanGate Expeditions Manager. In June of 2021, I became over the moon excited as I received a letter from the expedition manager, Kyle Bingham from OceanGate, asking me to join them for the OceanGate Titanic Survey Expedition 2021 as the Titanic Community Liaison. My answer was a huge YES, yes. I commend OceanGate on all the successful logistics planning that came to fruition to move machinery, equipment, and supplies, plus people, to St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada for the expedition. And you just saw on the previous slide, Titan was all shrink wrapped, getting ready to be moved to Newfoundland. And then here's the platform going to be trucked across the United States. And then they ferried everything up to Newfoundland. So next slide, please, Joanna. Thank you. And so this is most of Team OceanGate. So Titanic community meet Team OceanGate, and Team OceanGate Titanic community. there's just a few people that aren't in this picture, but this is most of the members of Team OceanGate. And then next slide, please. This picture up here is up in St. John's in the harbor. And this is the day before everything was loaded onto the Horizon Arctic. And you can see in front, the platform has made it safely up to Canada. And then Titan is back there, still shrink wrapped. And then in the bottom left, you can see 2 containers. And those containers are filled with equipment, supplies, tools, Band-Aids, safety equipment, flame retardant coveralls, boots, everything needed for the expedition, computer equipment, and everything in those containers had to be inventoried, every single nut and bolt and Band-Aid to get across the border into Canada. So there was a lot of work logistics-wise in moving everything up there. OceanGate made all the preparations to join the expedition very simple and emailed lists of what to bring along with all the necessary paperwork to cross the Canadian border. Due to COVID, I had to have a gold standard PCR test done 72 hours before I entered Canada, showing a negative result for COVID-19. I'm not usually an anxious person. There were 2 things, though, I was a little anxious about. One was seasickness, and my doctor wrote a prescription for a seasickness patch to be placed behind my ear with adhesive. This worked great, and I was not seasick at all. The other anxious thought I had was if there would be enough Diet Pepsi on board. OceanGate ordered a case of Diet Pepsi for me through Instacart, which was to be delivered to the support vessel Horizon Arctic, and I had it made. So on July 4th, 2021, I flew from Seattle, Washington to Chicago, to Toronto, to St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada to join Mission 2 of the Titanic Survey Expedition 2021. And it was really, really, really hard to control my excitement. There were a lot of people on the plane and the airports that heard about what was going to happen. So let the adventure begin. And this is a photo of me inside of Titan. With all the COVID protocols being adhered to, on July 5th, I joined the expedition as I stepped onto the support vessel Horizon Arctic. The first few hours were spent learning my way around the Horizon Arctic, participating in a safety drill. I wonder where that requirement came from. Seeing the OceanGate crew again, meeting the mission specialists, the experts, the doctor on board, and the Horizon Arctic crew. There were archaeologists on board and also Rory Golden and P.H. Nargeolet as the experts. Then I found myself working with the communications expert, Wendy Rush, and the mission specialist, and we were moving communications cable from the starboard side of the vessel to the port side. We were climbing all over the vessel using plenty of zip ties, and this was really fun. Next, CEO Stockton Rush gave us a tour of Titan. He explained her components, and we were able to go inside Titan. Dream come true. At the beginning of each expedition, everyone signed the mission flag, which was raised in a special ceremony. This support vessel is only 5 years old, and the word that comes to mind is luxury, even though this is a working vessel in the North Atlantic. The floor in the bathroom is even heated. Like I said, luxury in the North Atlantic. The photo on the right is of my cabin, and I think this is probably bigger than some cabins on cruise ships. It was really comfortable. And then on the right side, or excuse me, on the left side is the inside of the hospital, which we didn't use. And after I got settled into my cabin, I went out into the hallway, and Stockton Rush, the CEO, happened to be out there. And I thanked Stockton for booking me into the Strauss suite, and he got a kick out of that. The food was excellent, and that provided much needed fuel as everyone was working hard. There was a great variety of meals throughout the expedition, plus desserts and cookies. So next slide, please. And this is the kitchen team. These people were just absolutely excellent. The meals on board were fantastic. The 2 guys that are on the right, they worked the night crew, and I think they made all the desserts, and I got to be known as the cookie monster because I was into the cookies a lot. But the food was excellent thanks to these people here. And the next, one more slide too, please. On the right side is the mess room itself, where we had all of our meals. And then the left side, I began calling that the Horizon Arctic Grand Staircase. The evening that we reached the wreck site of the Titanic tragedy, we had a memorial service for the passengers and crew as a time to reflect. Rory Golden and I led a special ceremony to remember the 2,208 passengers and crew aboard the Titanic. This was the area where 1,496 people lost their lives that night, and 712 lives were changed forever. CEO Stockton Rush, Rory Golden, and I placed flowers in the North Atlantic, and it was a very moving, heartfelt experience to watch these flowers as they dispersed in the sea. One evening, I was asked to give a presentation on the passengers and crew. It is always very special to me to be able to share some stories of the passengers and crew who are aboard the Titanic. And in this same room, there was a mandatory meeting at 7 a.m. in the morning, and also to go over the day's tasks, and a mandatory meeting at 7 p.m. in the evening as a follow-up. On non-dive days in the evening, there were also presentations and movies and games going on in the conference room, which were all very informative, and the games were fun and so on. On dive days, there was a dive briefing before the dive on the bridge, so everyone would understand their roles on the dive. And then this is Dr. Ann. This is Dr. Ann. She was the physician on board. She specializes in remote medicine. She was on expeditions 2, 3, and 4. They had another doctor on the first mission and another doctor on the last mission. And Dr. Ann, she actually came up with an idea one day, and she said, "Kathy, can you help me with something?" I said, "Sure, what are we doing?" And she said, "I need you to find some construction paper." Okay, now where am I going to find construction paper on a boat that's going out to the Titanic in the middle of the North Atlantic? But I gave it a shot, and no construction paper, obviously, but there was computer paper. So Anne made that white boat that's in the front there. That's the Horizon Arctic, and then the orange one is the Fast Response Crew boat. And it kind of looks like there's some little figure in the Zodiac back there. And then I made the platform that's got the little diver with the red helmet on it. And then also I took some rope, and that's supposed to be the bow of Titanic. And then next to that is the Titan, who has made it to the bow of Titanic. Anyway, what Anne wanted to do was she wanted to formulate it in her head. She was already had so many scenarios figured out about what to do if there was an emergency, but this actually helped her get a better visual, like say somebody is in the Zodiac and there's an emergency, how are we going to get to this person as quickly as possible? Because safety is really, really important to OceanGate team. Okay, so next slide, please, Joanna. So this is getting to be close to a dive beginning. And the slide on the left side, that's the Zodiac, that's called Max. And a crane is used to put Max in the water. And then the middle slide is the Fast Response Crew boat. And at the same time, that's getting launched from the Horizon Arctic. And actually the divers that are going to be in Max are in the FRC at this time. And then the FRC in the water goes around and lets off the divers where they can get into the Zodiac, so they're ready to go. And then on the right side, this is Titan getting real close to being ready to go for a dive. All the OceanGate team is just checking everything over one more time for safety. You can see the cylinders that have the pressurized air on the platform. And then that yellow rope that's there, that is actually tied to the platform at all times to keep the platform tied to the Horizon Arctic at all times. And so now next slide, please. And this is getting very, very close to the dive. At this point, the passengers are inside of Titan. And the way that happens is in the front, there's a dome door window and the door, and that's opened up. And then instead of going through a roof hatch, the passengers enter through the front dome window door, and then the door is closed and it's been bolted shut. So everybody's inside, getting really close to a go. You can see a good shot of the ramp down there that the platform with Titan on it is going to go down. So then next slide, please. This is a real good shot of the ramp that was specially built for the Horizon Arctic to put Titan in and out of the ocean. And you can see Titan is up there ready to go, almost ready to go. They keep a tarp on the dome window door when it's not in use to protect it. And again, you can see the cylinders, and that's how Titan is when she's on board the Horizon Arctic there. Once in the water, the platform is then filled with water, and as the platform and Titan go under the water, Titan drives off the platform and is free to explore. And Titan is driven with a game controller. And here you can see Titan has been gone down the ramp and she's ready to go, and the FRC and the Zodiac are close by just in case of an emergency. Didn't have any, but we were ready. And this, I wanted to show these two pictures. On the left side, you can see that the platform is actually under the water where those two buoys are, and Titan is off and she's starting to go explore. And then on the right side, you can see a good picture of what it looks like on the surface when the ramp is with the platform going in and out of the water. And so next picture, please. There's constant communications between Titan and the communications team aboard the Horizon Arctic during a dive. And you can see on the right side, we call that the communications pit. And that's where Titan communicates with the Horizon Arctic. They actually, as she goes deeper into the ocean, Titan actually communicates via text message. And it's just fascinating. You're just kind of looking over and just, you can't really believe what's happening because you can see the communications coming in from Titan. And then on the left side, that's out overlooking the stern deck of the Horizon Arctic. And at this point, the Titan and everything is in the water, and we've got 5 sets of eyes watching everything for any emergencies that might come up. The guy that's the second from the left, that's the captain of the Horizon Arctic, Captain Steve. And then with the blue cap on, that's Joseph, and he actually is part of the Horizon Arctic team, and he's responsible for letting the rope in and out to let the platform down and also bring the platform up. And then you can see Kyle Bingham, the expedition manager, and then the guy sitting down in the window, that's Dan, and he's the mission director. After the dive, the reverse process happens as Titan docks and the platform underwater, and pressurized air then enters the platform, which brings the platform and Titan back to the surface. The platform and Titan are then brought back up the ramp, secured on the deck of the Horizon Arctic, and the passengers disembark on the submersible. Numerous drones were utilized when Titan was on the surface before and after a dive, and it was fun to watch team members launch and catch the drones from the drone wing. I started calling this the drone wing. How technology has changed since 1912. Witnessing a dive in progress at times is a surreal experience. My favorite place to be during a dive was on the aft bridge, looking out over the stern deck and the sea. I could hear any communications going on from the bridge, plus walk a few steps to the communications pit and overlook where the communications were happening with Titan. From the start of a dive, when safety, communications, the Zodiac, the FRC, the bridge, Titan, and the mission director have all verbally committed to the dive being a go, just like in a space launch, to the end of a dive when the passengers aboard Titan disembark safely from the submersible, many hours have gone by, and it just feels like the blink of an eye time-wise. And Captain Steve actually took this picture of me sitting in the captain's chair. And then if you can see it over into the back of the picture, that's actually the stern controls, and that's where everybody is when a dive is going on. This picture was taken probably when we were either heading out to the wreck site or back to the wreck site. Being able to witness firsthand during Mission 2 and sharing the success of Titan reaching the debris field of the Titanic wreck site and back successfully with Stockton Rutch, P.H. Nargeolet, and Scott Griffith aboard was a very special experience. There was another dive on Mission 2, and I am grateful that I was able to also stay for Mission 3, which had even more successes. Throughout Missions 2 and 3, I was letting everyone know that I was scoping out places to stow away on the Horizon Arctic. And a few hundred miles out to sea, my plan was I was going to jump out and say, surprise, I'm still here. But unfortunately, that plan didn't work out. I was in communication with the OceanGate team when I got home from the Horizon Arctic during Mission 4, and it was also exciting to learn of more successes on Missions 4 and 5. OceanGate has an excellent media department, and they are very busy going through the photos and the video collected during the Titanic expedition with the state-of-the-art camera and video equipment that they had on board Titan. And then the next few slides are some of the slides that they took. And in this PowerPoint presentation, they don't come through as clear as they are on the OceanGate's website, but they're absolutely beautiful pictures that they got this year. It was an honor to be a part of the OceanGate Titanic Survey Expedition 2021, which captured images and data to be used towards the continued study of the site for future generations, while being respectful to the memory of Titanic, her passengers, and crew. To me, the word OceanGate means teamwork, and this group of people accomplished everything they set out to do. This is my White Star Line flag, and this flag actually went down to a remote part of the debris field on Mission 4, and it was really, really special because the last day that I was on board, one of the archaeologists, Bridget, she said to me, she said, Kathy, do you have anything that you want to leave? And yeah, I don't want me to leave, but anyway, besides that, I said, well, I have my Titanic's White Star Line, my White Star Line flag, I can leave that. And she said, okay, leave that. And she said, I'll make sure it gets in the souvenir bag and gets inside a Titan. And sure enough, she did. And I do have a picture of the flag with two of the mission specialists holding it inside of Titan when it was in the remote part of the debris field. And then when OceanGate got back, Bridget went off on another expedition to, I think it's Greece. But she had her husband send me back the flag at home. And then I took the flag with me to Pigeon Forge at the conference that Joanna was talking about at TitanicCon. And I was thinking and hoping that one of my Titanic friends could take my picture maybe with the flag, with maybe in front of some flowers or something. And Titanic friends, being such great friends, they said, oh no, we got to take you to the bow of the ship at the Titanic Museum attraction. And so sure enough, they did. And so that's how this picture all came about. So this flag is starting to get around some. And then I also have another couple more really funny stories. You might remember the slide that I showed with the kitchen staff. Well, on the second to the last day on board, they were saying, Kathy, we got to get pictures. And I said, yeah, we sure do. Pictures are memories. And so Randy said, he goes, no, we got to get you one of those black caps, Kathy, and also a black apron. You're really going to be part of the kitchen team here. So they did. And so it was really, really hilarious. We got our pictures. But then before I knew it, to get some funny pictures, they took me back in the kitchen and they had me stirring some butter for the cookies that I had been having all throughout the expedition. And so after we got done with that for a minute, I went back out to the mess room, and people were starting to come in for dinner, and they were laughing because I was wearing the black cap and cap and apron. And I saw Stockton, and I don't know what got into me, but I raised my right hand and I said, Stockton, I said, I am taking a pledge right now that I am going to replace all the cookies that I've had so far on the expedition. And that is going to take me, I already know it's going to take me exactly 2 more missions to complete baking all those cookies. And Stockton just laughed. Everybody got a kick out of that. I was trying to think of any way I could possibly stay on board for mission 4 and 5. And then finally I did have to leave and get off the Horizon Arctic. And I got back to the hotel, which is just about 5 minutes away, and threw my luggage down and grabbed a chair and started to put my feet up on the windowsill there. And I was looking out in the harbor at the Horizon Arctic and Titan. And I was thinking to myself, what just happened? And I think I sat there for like about 4 hours, just taking all this in and everything. And then I started thinking, are they going to be leaving? Because it's starting to get dark and they're still here. And so finally, as it was getting darker, they did go ahead and they started to leave. And I said, oh, darn, they really are leaving. And so quick, I grabbed my phone and I emailed Kyle and I said, wait for me. I said, I can really be there in 5 minutes. Send the FRC and Max out for me. And it turns out about a month later, I was talking to Kyle and he said, yeah, when we got that email, he says, we were actually all in the conference room for the first mandatory meeting. And I read that email out loud and everybody just started laughing because the Horizon Arctic is so smooth that none of us realized that we were leaving. And so you're the one that actually informed us that we were leaving. So we all got a big kick out of that. So I also want to thank everyone for taking the time today to attend this presentation of my experience of the OceanGate Titanic Survey Expedition 2021.
All right. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna stop sharing here. Thank you so much, Kathy. That must have been just the most amazing experience. I absolutely love hearing your story and seeing your photos. I just have a few questions myself. And to our viewers, if you're watching us live, we would be happy to take your questions and comments in the comment section of the live feed through the main RMS Titanic Reflections page. So if you're watching us live, click on the main post, I guess, that would take you to the RMS Titanic Reflections page and comment there with your questions for Kathy or your comments for any of us or questions for any of us. And we'll be happy to take those here for the next few minutes or so. I'm looking at the questions and comments section now. I'd like to say hi to Riley Harder, who's been hanging in there with us and watching the whole time. Riley, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comment section there. Kathy, you were there with two like legendary figures in the Titanic community, Rory Golden and P.H. Nargeolet. For those of you watching, if you don't know who they are, P.H. Nargeolet is someone who has been in the Titanic community for a very long time, years and years. He's been on numerous expeditions, expedition leader numerous times. He's been on numerous documentaries. I mean, he's everywhere. He's been with RMS Titanic Inc. For a number of years. His signature is on my Titanic hull piece that I've had since the 90s. He worked very closely with George Tulloch for many years. What was it like being on an expedition with someone like P.H. Nargeolet? I hear he's just a fantastic person. What was that like?
He is. Both he and Rory. It was such a treat to have those two men on board. I learned so much from them. And during the evenings in the conference room, there was presentations that were put on some nights on non-dive days, and PH gave a couple of presentations and Rory gave a couple of presentations. So it's another way for everyone to learn for all of us that were on board. So it was a great opportunity, and to be able to just sit down and talk with them sometimes when they were on the bridge or during the meals. It was like, it was you're looking next to you and all of a sudden PH is sitting down to have dinner at the same time, and it's a great opportunity to learn more about Titanic and dives and what they've been through. It was just such a pleasure to meet both of them. Wonderful opportunity. And
I would love to speak with PH and Rory someday, if you can put in a good word for me if you ever see them again. I've gotten to know Rory a little bit through Facebook and through Messenger. He's absolutely one of my favorite people. He wrote a little article one time for me about his friend Ralph White, They were both explorers together, and it absolutely brought me to tears. He is one of the kindest people I have ever had any dealings with, ever. Truly, Rory, if you're watching this, you're one of my favorite people. But he, and if those of you who are not watching, if you're not familiar with Rory Golden, he's also a legend of the Titanic community. He's been an explorer for many years, not just a Titanic explorer, but he's been to the Titanic many times, and he, we owe him a lot in the Titanic community as far as his contributions to the Titanic world. He's been down there many times. He has had his hands on many of the lovely things that have been brought to the surface. He and I believe Ralph had a hand in recovering many of the artifacts that came up with RMS Titanic Inc. And they were involved in many of the expeditions over the years. But he's just a fantastic individual, and I'm sure it was just an honor to be part of an expedition with him. I'm sure it was just a surreal experience. He's just one of the most genuine people.
Rory is so very kind, and he's hilarious too. We had a lot of there was one evening that there were four people that dressed up and put on a really funny skit. So you can imagine who was probably the instigator of that. So
but that does sound characteristic.
Yeah, and it was also very special when we were at, like, I showed you the picture of out at the wreck site, the memorial that we had, and to be able to put that on with Rory was just very, 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 very special. So
I love that that Ocean's Gate was still very considerate, of the lives lost there. It wasn't just an expedition to take pictures. I was a little skeptical at first, to be honest. I'm like, who are these people charging all this money to go out there? So I was, paying close attention, I was glad to see that it was all handled very reverently.
It was.
I think that was great.
Yeah, and a couple of things also too. Ocean Gate does care very deeply about the Titanic and their passengers and crew, like I said. And this is actually it's a dry boat. There's no alcohol on board too, which I thought was very, very respectful out there at the wreck site. I thought that was a very good idea. And I found from my experience with the mission specialists that they were asking me questions about the passengers and crew. They wanted to learn more. One of the archaeologists, one of the people that I talked about was Edith Corse Evans, and the archaeologist, she asked me if she could have a picture that she put down in her little office on the Horizon Arctic of Edith Corse Evans, and they loved learning about the passengers and crew. It just brings that human element of it so much more, and it was great that they did that.
I'm so glad they had you to be able to connect the two, the archaeology part and the history part. That's great. Kipper, you don't have to raise your hand, just jump in there, bud.
Yeah. Well, I thought they knew the microphone could run the car. I've been told that when you visit the wreck site, you feel like very, what's the word I'm looking for, ominous, like very sad. Did you get any type of feeling when you went to the wreck site? Like any type of sadness? Did it make you cry?
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent question, Kipfer, and it did affect me. On mission 2, we got out there kind of in the evening, and it just kind of happened fast, but I found myself while I was out there just kind of slowing down. I was very aware of where we were. I thought in addition to the memorial that we had, I also took some time myself to think about the Titanic friends that I have who are relatives of Titanic passengers and crew. And I just took some time to myself to also think and remember of those people also. A couple of Titanic friends of mine, they asked me if they could send me some treasures of theirs before I left, and I took them with me. And so I kind of put them up on the ledge of the bridge and took some pictures of them for those people, because it is just it's a very reverent, as we all know, it's a very reverent site. And the second time on mission 3, as we were going out there, I kind of knew more what to expect, and I was talking to the captain on the bridge, and I said, can you let me know when we do enter the wreck site, because I really want to be aware this time of when we are entering, which he did. And it was just, I'm going to keep that memory just kind of dear to myself for all time now, because it's a very, I don't know if powerful is the right word, reverent feeling, because I just was very, very aware of where we were. So you're right, Kipper. It is also sad. I didn't shed any tears myself, but I just took a lot of time for some special thoughts the whole time that I was out there.
I remember when I went to a Titanic museum in California, and they had the bell.
Mm-hmm.
When I got near the bell, I felt like the way I put it is powerful sadness. I
Mm-hmm.
just felt like this went down with so many people, and it has like some type of energy that makes you just completely sad, and it drained me because it was just so overwhelming, and I would
Mm-hmm.
never forget that feeling.
Yes, it is. It can hit you, that's for sure. Yep.
So we have some questions and comments here. Our viewer Riley Harder says, how did you feel when you dove down to Titanic, and did you feel anxious? He also says, I've been in touch with Ocean Gate, and Bob Schumann replied, don't know if you know him, Kathy. You probably do. I asked if there are any tips you could provide to people who want to work for Ocean Gate.
Okay. Oh, great questions. And I have met Bob, very nice man. As far as going down to the wreck site itself, I was part of the team, the support team. So I did not go down into Titan myself on this expedition. But I heard, obviously firsthand when people got off out of Titan, what it was like for them. And it was just for them, it was a surreal experience too. And I know that they wanted to go on and on and on. So, yeah. And then as far as questions about working for Ocean Gate, just keep in contact with them, email back and forth, what your skills are and so on. And, dreams can come true. I'm living proof. So.
And I wanted to circle back to something that you said, Kathy, about the picture of you in front of the bow of the ship in Pigeon Forge. I'm going to give Bill Willard a big plug here for his conference. And I want to say a little something about Titanic Friends. I'm going to get a little mushy. You guys are my Titanic friends, Kathy and Kipper. I cannot express to you guys how thankful I am for the friends that I have in the Titanic community. There is a little drama on occasion. I'm sure we all know that. But the past year and a half to 2 years have been a little difficult for me personally. Without my Titanic friends, without this platform that I have where I come to you guys live occasionally, I don't know what I would have done. I just want to take a moment to say thank you to my Titanic friends who have been there for me personally. And just thank you. Like Kathy said, Titanic friends sometimes go above and beyond what you expect. You have friends, and then sometimes you have Titanic friends, and it almost kind of says it in the words Titanic friends. Bigger, Titanic, just awesome. It's something that can't even be described. I felt it when I was at TitanicCon. Even though I had never met any of these people before in person, like Kathy, like many others that I met in person for the first time, there were no strangers really. These are my friends. These were my people. It was just like family. I just have never felt more at home before. It was just like a community. The things that I've had to deal with over the past year and a half to 2 years, I don't think I would have been able to make it without the support of some of the people that I've come in contact with through the Titanic community. You've been my support system, you've been my friends, you've been more than that, you've been Titanic friends. And I just thank you. Thank you so much. I post something, whether it's personal or Titanic related, and somehow you people pick up on it, and I get like messages, hey, what can we do to help? How can we be supportive? And it's something in the vein of Titanic friends. It's some sensitivity that we all have to each other that, and I have it too. I can tell when a friend of mine is hurting, or, and I'll send a message out to somebody, hey, are you okay? What can I do to help? I'm here for you. And it's like that in this community. I think that we all have this sensitivity. I don't know why, but thank you. I mean, like Kathy says, it's just, Titanic friends. You just go above and beyond. Hey, I was hoping my friends could take a picture of me in front of some flowers or something, but no, they get me in the front of the bow of the ship with my flag. That's what Titanic friends do. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I concur with that.
Okay, I'm done. Yeah. I'm not going to cry.
It is so true. I mean, Titanic community is a family. So it's like each day, and you kind of see different posts from people, and you kind of, okay, everybody's okay today, and it is. They're just a family. So.
But it's like Titanic friends, just above and beyond.
I agree with both of you, because as probably you both saw, know if you saw last week, I was going through depression, like big time. And when I posted that on Facebook, I got so many messages, I got so many comments saying, you're going to get through this, you're going to get through this. And like 50% of them were Titanic friends, and some Titanic friends I knew for over 10 years. Mm-hmm. And like Joanne said, it is just amazing we can get through the people that start the drama, but the people that are more laid back, they come to you like that when you go through so much. And it just amazes me to this day on how toxic the ship community can be, but also how warm and loving the ship community can be.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's going to be good and bad here and there, no matter what. But I mean, it's just like, I'm just grateful. I'm really grateful. And I think you guys, you know what I mean? Kathy knows, what I mean. It's just really simple. It's just like at the Titanic conference, I went up to someone and I'm like, hey, can I get my picture with you guys? And this person was like, yeah, you can get your picture with us. How do you want to wear my life belt from Raise the Titanic? I was like, okay. I mean, Titanic friends, guys. I mean, where on earth where else on earth do you have this kind of community? It's great.
Queen Mary.
Anyway, come on, Kipper. All right, anyway, so anybody else watching? Okay, I'm done with my mushiness. Does anybody else watching have any more questions for Kathy about her OceanGate expedition? Anybody? We have a few watchers still. I know it's a little bit early in the morning. Well, it's Saturday around noon. People are probably out Christmas shopping and stuff, but this will be on the in all the groups. You can watch it and rewatch it. And it'll be eventually on our YouTube channel. Give us a like and subscribe. But if you have additional questions, Kathy, can they message you, or can you guys can always comment on our post on RMS Titanic Reflections, and Kathy will be glad to get back to you, or we'll make sure that Kathy, gets the information or gets the question and can get back with you. Anything else, Kathy? Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Just that I'm just really like you, I'm grateful for the Titanic community. I'm extremely grateful to OceanGate for the opportunity that I had, and then to be able to bring it back and share it with my Titanic friends is a wonderful experience. So thank you for giving me this platform to do that too for RMS Titanic Reflections. Thank you.
Well, Kathy, I just can't thank you enough for joining us today. It's just been great. Like I said, I've seen these pictures before when we were at Pigeon Forge, but I'm so happy to see them again. And I wish I could be out there with you, but I cannot tell you how happy I am that it was you who was selected to do this. You know, of all people in the Titanic community, I was just like, Kathy. I mean, I wanted to cry when I read, you know, when I saw that you were going. I was like, you're so deserving of this. And I was just so happy to see that it was you that was going and that you were going to get this experience. I cannot wait to, you know, I want you to be able to go back and to continue this. And I hope that you'll join us again once you get to do this again, I hope. And we're going to think positive here. You're going to get to do this again, and you're going to come back again and share more photos and experiences with us. So yes, hopefully.
So, yeah. We'll see what the future brings. So yeah. If someone had said to me 2 years ago that I would be doing this, I wouldn't have believed it. And I still am pinching myself that it happened. And so it's just.
Well, dreams come true. I mean, if someone had told me, you know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that I would be doing the things and talking to the people that I've talked to, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have believed that either. You know, talking to people that I've seen on documentaries, read their books, that kind of thing. I wouldn't have believed that either. So, I mean, who knows? You just never know where life will take you or what will happen. It's just very exciting. And we've got some exciting things in the works as far as RMS Titanic Reflections goes, as far as our Zoom events go. So don't think that just because we're quiet that things aren't happening behind the scenes, because they are. Life is just busy. I'm sure everybody else is too. But,
yes.
You know, there are some there are still some exciting things going on in the background, behind the scenes. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm sure everyone is very busy with their holiday plans. So hopefully we will see you all again soon.
And Joanna, can I share one more quick thing about OceanGate too?
Yes, go please. Anything.
Just to share with the Titanic community, this coming Wednesday, and it's going to be at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. OceanGate is actually going to be putting on a webinar about the Expedition 2. And so I know I'm really looking forward to that too, because you will be able to see, because we all know the cameras that they had on and so on. And I don't know, they are going to release all the photos and video to the public eventually. So I don't know if any of that will be on this webinar, but it's going to be from OceanGate's experience on OceanGate Expedition 2021. So looking forward to that this coming Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. It'll be on their Facebook, probably the OceanGate Expeditions Facebook page, and it's probably going to be on YouTube also, live webinar.
Yeah. Well, Kathy, please feel free to post that in the group or on the page, wherever. Okay. We would love to, you know, to see that. Again, thank you for joining us. George B says, hi, Kathy, a great presentation. George, thank you for your comment. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, George.
We want to thank everybody for watching, everyone who took the time out of your Saturday to join us here at RMS Titanic Reflections. Thank you for joining us for Deep Conversations episode 5. Look for it on our YouTube channel, hopefully coming up sometime in the new year, if not before. Again, keep an eye out for upcoming events. Hopefully we'll have some more soon. We'll look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you again, Kathy. Thank you, Kipper. Thank you to all of our loyal group members and viewers. Thanks again, everyone. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.